Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping straight into a source that details a really major challenge facing Sri Lanka.
That's right. It's about the country's aging population, a significant issue.
Exactly. And our mission here is to unpack what this source says are the critical problems, but also, importantly, to explore the potential ways forward it suggests.
Especially focusing on what the authorities, what they can actually do to support this generation.
So let's start with the shift itself. The numbers in the source are, well, they're quite striking.
They really are. It mentions around 12% of the population is over 60 right now.
But look where it's headed. Projected to almost double 22% by 2037.
And then hitting a quarter, 25% by 2041.
That's an incredibly rapid change for any society to handle.
And the source makes it clear this isn't happening in a vacuum. The current economic crisis just makes everything so much harder.
Yeah, it points to, four main areas under strain?
Economic vulnerability, healthcare access, social issues, and basic food security, all under pressure.
Let's talk about that economic vulnerability first. The source really flags this.
It does. Higher poverty rates among older people. And a big part of it is limited social protection.
Right, especially for those who worked in, say, the informal sector or private companies without solid pensions.
Exactly. Their savings, which might be all they have, are just, they're dwindling fast.
And the source paints a pretty stark picture of life on the ground, doesn't it?
It really does. Seniors queuing for essentials, relying on very, very limited support.
Even mentioning some resorting to begging or skipping meals, just basic survival becoming a struggle due to food costs and inflation.
It's tough reading, but thankfully the source doesn't just stop at the problems.
No, it moves into exploring, potential paths forward, solutions.
And what's interesting is the focus on systemic changes, things authorities could actually implement.
Like exempting seniors from certain taxes. I think I saw that mentioned.
Yes, precisely. It suggests bringing back exemptions for those over 60 from VAT, capital gains, withholding tax, things like that.
Stuff that was apparently in place before but got removed.
That's what the source indicates. It also talks about offering better interest rates on their savings.
Which seems crucial if savings are all they have left.
Absolutely. Though it does note a recent government plan on this seems to have, stalled.
Beyond those specific financial points.
The source really stresses the need for stronger social protection systems overall. It mentions existing allowances reach, over 650,000 people?
Yeah, but it implies that's often just not enough, right? Given the scale of the crisis.
Deeply inadequate is the sense you get. The costs have just soared too high.
And connecting that to better healthcare access and just general economic security, it feels fundamental.
It does, especially, as the source implies, for a generation that really contributed so much, gave their sweat and blood, often in sectors without those safety nets.
Yeah, these aren't just abstract policy points. They affect real people who've, like you said, invested their lives in the country.
Which brings up another point the source touches on. What about the role of seniors themselves in driving change?
Ah, right. The idea of collective action.
Exactly. It suggests they could unite, use their collective voice, maybe their voting power more strategically.
Like demanding clear, written pledges from political parties, things they can be held accountable for.
Precisely that. Using their collective power to demand better.
So pulling this all together, what this deep dive into the source shows us is a generation facing, multiple crises at once. Rapid aging, severe economic hardship.
But it's not just doom and gloom. The source offers a kind of roadmap, concrete policy ideas for decision makers.
And it highlights the potential power within the affected group itself, that collective action piece.
It really underscores an urgent need to strengthen those support systems and actually recognize the contributions of older citizens with tangible policies.
And here's maybe the most interesting part. That suggestion that while systemic change is needed from the top down, the agency, the power of the seniors themselves acting together could be absolutely key to making those changes happen.
A sort of bottom-up pressure meeting top-down responsibility.
Exactly. So a final thought maybe for you, our listener, to consider. In a society like Sri Lanka, aging this fast, facing such economic headwinds, understanding these specific issues and proposed solutions forces us to ask, whose job is it, ultimately, to ensure dignity and security for the older generation?
And how does knowing what this source suggests, both the problems and the potential fixes, shape how we think that responsibility should be met?